Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and thank you for stopping by again. In the last video, I discussed the logistics platform of Panama, and I didn't quite finish all of it, but I got a bunch of it done. Meantime, though it's expanded just a little, I'm going to just cover that today. I'll put a link to the earlier one for those who are into the bulk of that detail was found in that particular video. But anyhow, regarding the our logistics platform, as people who saw the last one are aware, is that the canal, the railroad that runs alongside the canal, the very large pipeline being built to handle liquefied gases, natural and petroleum, which we run about 1 million barrel equivalents or barrels of this liquefied gas a day, and that's pretty reasonable. So we have major seaports, we have new ones coming along, and we have the internet cables, of course, the trunk lines running through. We've got all these things, and we've got Tocumen Airport, which is growing constantly and expanding, putting on another 12 gates now, has its own free trade zone, which is expanding and being more and more involved. We have a number of those, which brings me to the big one, and that's the free trade zone in Cologne. And that is the second largest in the world. Only Hong Kong is larger. Well, I haven't really discussed it because it's a lot of detail, and it usually doesn't impact people that much. But it is an important factor to take into account too, and it is, oh gosh, it's now home to over 2,000 companies from all over the world that have operations that are of one kind or another. 240 of those added just in the last 12 months, the first year of the administration, and there's been a very active push here to bring these in. Now, free trade zones, very simply put, I consider them huge warehousing areas that are scattered around where things can be held that are eventually going to be sold, but they're not where they're going to go eventually. In other words, let's say you've got, I don't know, 20 million tubes of Colgate toothpaste or something you got to do with. You don't want to have to ship those out country to country from the home office. I mean, it's crazy. So they ship those down here. They'll keep them in storage here in free trade zone. Free in the sense that we don't tax them or anything. So it's free of taxes, okay? They don't have to pay taxes until they're ready to be sold to the last party, the consumer, all right? This is down from business to business. And they will sell these, and other businesses will take them over and say Nicaragua, and maybe it will ship something up there, and then they will sell it, and then they'll pay Nicaraguan taxes and so forth, or what have you. But it's a tax-free zone otherwise, and it greatly simplifies the whole process. Above all, these free trade zones, when they came into play, and they became more important after World War II, this one was set up in 1948, they provide, well, nowadays they provide everything under the sun. Humidity control, of course, temperature control, yeah, different size rooms, different size ceiling heights. I mean, all sorts of things can be done. Office space, definitely available. There's a whole variety of services you can put together in a package. Just tell them, and they'll work together with you to find the right package. And you can run an entire business right out of the port. Now, and all of that is yet to pay any taxes. When it leaves the port and it's going to be sold in Panama, it pays any fees it's got to pay, any taxes, tariffs, whatever, it pays at that stage. But predominantly it's to the port to be sent to another country. Then at that point, they also do whatever they do with tariffs and taxes and whatever. So until that time, though, they're free of that. What they do, and it's important to us, is that they not only do they channel $33 billion worth of goods through not just last year, through the trade zone, but they also employ a lot of people here, thousands of them, more double, 2-3 times the total at the canal, 2.5 times. Thousands of people get their jobs there. And in an area of the country where they need them, which is the Cologne end of the canal. Now, all this is going to be very massively expanded. And we have now, when people come down, specifically for the purpose of visiting the port, because they are thinking of purchasing goods from a particular supplier, or maybe there are 6 suppliers of similar goods and they're all located there, very possibly. They get to go down, they get to talk to people, they get to negotiate. Maybe they make arrangements. There'll be through the, everything's, communications are simple, and we've got the best. Then they get to figure something out, and they make a sale, and they purchase from that, and it's going to go from the warehouse up to that country, and so on. Fine. We had, according to the papers, last year, I think it was 65,000 of these people. And we're hoping to add another 25,000 onto their number once we get the expansion done. It's on, 1,000 hectares and 2,500 acres now. It will be, I don't know exactly how large, but substantially larger than that. I'm not going to go into any more detail because it's easy to get lost into it, but here is this gigantic, huge, and very successful free trade zone, and again, the second largest in the world, and nothing in the United States comes close, all right? Or for that matter, Antwerp. It's just a single port. We're talking about the whole logistics platform. Nobody touches it. So there we go. And now moving along from that, it's good for you to know this stuff, because right now I'm reading a lot of analyses. We've got bonds that we're having to, the financial magic, we're trying to do in dealing with a difficult situation financially has led to all sorts of activities. Everyone knows them. They're discussed. It's not a dark, secretive sort of thing. And Mr. Chapman, who's in charge of our economic finance activities, is a very competent man. And he's just struggling with the budget for next year. And, oh well, it's all a struggle. But outsiders who don't understand what's going on here just lump everything together. From 2022, there were some protests for the cost of living post-COVID. In 2023, it was about corruption at the mine and copper mine in general, and the way the whole thing had been handled, which was pretty crappy and understandable. That was a huge demonstration, and it was like a bomb. It blew up. People didn't know it was coming, and the status quo here got smacked right upside the head. They didn't realize they were just blown away. Yeah. And it showed how they had lost communication with the people. And the people, because they had changed. They're not the same people when I came down 20 years ago. And these people who were 30 years old were only 10 when I got here. Actually, 9. And so they're coming into their own. And at 40, they were just beginning. They were just getting out of high school back then. Now they're 40 years old. They have families. I mean, things have changed. And it's being seen in everything. And I think it's extremely positive, very positive. I tell you right now, I see very rough times coming down the road. Certainly this could be a really difficult year. We don't know. It might not be either. We will see. Don't panic, because there's no reason to it. But we do have to keep an eye on everything and hope we just get through it. And then on to a much better year, the following one. That's what everybody wants us to do, but can we do it? That's always the question. We'll see. And we've done it in the past, so don't put anything past Panama once it puts its mind to it. Now, about you, okay. Your investments as such, you're really investing your life if you're moving down, if your relocation is your goal. And that has to take precedence over everything else. People who've been around for me for any length of time know what I say often is that you need to, if you're finding housing, you're going to have some place to stay, rental or purchase. You have to be where you need to be. And then in that area, you choose where you want to be instead of the reverse. So you don't go anywhere because it's a gorgeous view. Just look at this, look at that. Isn't this wonderful? Isn't it? No, it's great for the first 30 days. Then it gets, old. And 60 days later, you're not even looking at it. But it may turn out that one of the family is very much a do-it-yourselfer, and the hardware store just doesn't have anything that they need. And it gets to be really difficult having to go all the way into the city to get things, or into some major, one of the smaller cities outside that may have it. It's very frustrating if that's a big thing for you. If you want to do a lot of your own work and so on, that kind of thing. And also, people who want to go out twice a week, maybe more, for dinner. And that may mean a modest meal somewhere. But the point is you run out of restaurants. And then you see them all in some of the areas. So we have our little problems there. So, and if social life is really important for you, then you need to look at the country differently. And I won't say any more than that. We always talk when people come in. I try to help, and Maurice tries to help them focus on what it is they really need. But that's what we do. We help them do that. And then in that area, look for what they want emotionally. But you're not going on vacation. You're coming to live. It's different. Right? And you got to really have that in your head when you come down. Now, a few little details. I seem to feel like I've said them 1,000 times. I may have. But they bear being stated again and again, because I'm seeing mistakes being made. So never buy anything over the internet. It's sort of obvious. But never, ever, ever sign any document in effect pledging to buy it, or stay away from that. Stay away from making any kind of commitment at all before you get down here. Because it's a gimmick. Now, I'm not saying everybody does it, right? But this is wrong for you if you're new. I don't care how great a sales job is done by the material that comes with it. The simple fact of the matter is you've not set foot in the country. You don't know what the neighborhood looks like. You don't know what a good price is and what one isn't. You don't have any statistical basis on which to know whether your type of level is available or not. And you're given the idea that somehow there's going to be an explosive growth, really impressive annual growth in home values over the next few years. Oh, boy, we know this. We know that people in North America, Europe, especially North America these days, are very short-term money-oriented. So they want it in, they want to make a lot of money, and they want to get out. Oh, isn't that sweet? So would we. If we find one like that, we'll buy it ourselves. It takes some effort to do this and do it well. So you focus first on what you need, and then when you begin to see things, offers come in that sound really, really, really great, you say, thank you. You can even visit them. Oh, you should when you come down. But you want to see them. It isn't built yet. You say, well, all right, there's lots that is built. And so you might want to take a look at something that's very much like what is being built for you, because we have a lot of housing down here, which may be substantially lower in price today. Buying a brand new home is a different story than buying one that's been there for a year, say. So, or it's been rented and now it's available for sale. So don't do that. Don't ever do that. If you can, anyway, just don't do it. You don't have a big rush. We have alternatives. You just get here, take a look at everything. The people who are selling stuff will still have stuff to sell. Just be very demanding. You want by all means, you want to have a copy of a contract just to read and peruse. You aren't going to sign it. Not until you get down here and you have a lawyer. Which brings me to the next one. Definitely have your own lawyer. Do not use a lawyer for the buyer, or pardon me, for the seller. I mean, that's common sense, folks. The seller's lawyer wants to help the seller sell. It's perfectly all right that you want to buy. They're happy to help. but they want the seller to sell. Is that clear? No, people want to save money by doing that. Oh, man, you see some of the stuff that goes on, you realize you ain't saved a penny, you've lost a whole pile of money, and you're trying to get things straightened out later because you didn't get them straightened out when you had the chance. You have a lawyer look at any rental or sales agreement, and they're pretty straightforward in most instances. Much of it being what's called boilerplate, which is the standard stuff, but you can bury all sorts of things, escalators, for example, that allow them to raise the price at any time they feel that the expenses are exceeding what they anticipated. So all of a sudden your price goes up too. You haven't even bought it yet. You've only paid a down payment, but you're stuck with it. Now you're going to have to pay an extra 10% or whatever. Yeah, it's on and on. You have a lawyer look at it and tell you exactly what you're getting yourself into. Right? Now, there are other ways to make business here in this country, and you can do it through setting up a business and so on, an actual business, and people have done that all over. Even the successful ones, though, know that the real challenge comes in eventually wanting to sell it if you don't have someone in the family who's going to take over, or someone clearly in mind, the sort of person, and you are in touch with that you can find if you need to find them, who might be interested in it, and so forth. It's work. Now, so, I'm not opposed to it at all. Some of the expat-owned businesses here have done very well, and others have just been flops. Have you ever done it before? That's always one thing you can ask yourself. And then there's land. Now, that's what I look at more. These are for people with more money. So I don't spend much time talking about it here because you're talking about something large that is going to be in 7 figures as a rule, although it may be very cheap. Very cheap for a reason, is that it's so large, but it can have so much going for it. But you say, I'm going to have to pay property taxes, I'm going to have to take care of the land, and so on and so forth. Oh, we know. So we help with all that, suggesting what can be done. There's all sorts that can be done. But the key point is that you got to be a very wealthy person or an LLC or something like that with, say, $2, $3, $4, $5 million available to you. And then fine, let me know. We can help you if you need it. But I don't talk about it any more than that because it's not what you guys are looking for, most of you. If you are, you let me know. I'm fine, happy to help. So there's that too. But I think the one that's most important is investing your life. That's the critical one. Anyhow, I wanted to go through that very quickly. The logistical platform and the basics that you try to keep in mind when you're dealing with the simplest things to keep in mind when dealing with an agent or with a lawyer or so forth and what have you. Just look out for buyer beware, Just look out for your own best interests. Thank you for stopping by. I'm going to come back again and have some perhaps more specific news. In fact, that newsletter you keep hearing about, it's coming out this month. There's no question about it. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter to be sure you get it, I noticed that that section in the last one had been screwed up. The description, how these things get past me is I do them too late at night and I don't quite catch everything. Very bad. So I changed it, but now I will do it properly, and you can go into the retirementwave.com website, and at the bottom of any page there you can register for the newsletter, which comes out 2 or 3 times a year. So you don't have to worry about being swamped. Although more may come out. I don't know. We're looking into changing the whole approach. That's it for now. Thanks again, and I will look forward to seeing you next time.